Right. Good morning, everybody. So delight to see you all. Thank you so much for coming again to day 2 of Foucault Genealogies for the Future. It was a deeply rich day yesterday. Thank you so much to all of our speakers, as well as the invitees who are joining in person as well as virtually. We have over 250 people registered through Zoom over the next 2 days, well, past and present, as well as a good 150 for in person. So people are circulating through, but there's not only clearly deep interest, but the people who have come have been deeply moved by the kinds of conversations that are happening, the way in which you all are engaging concepts that are of deep consequence, not just for Foucault, but also for all the disciplines that are represented here. So it's an honor to be able to welcome you here. My name is Nikki Kasumi-Clemens, professor in the Department of Religion. And I would like to introduce Zach Schwarze, a graduate student in our department, to make the land and labor acknowledgement. Welcome.
Hey, good morning. Does it sound okay? It's good? Okay. So, Carolyn Hartness, who is an elder of the Eastern Band Cherokee living on the Suquamish land, people of the clear salt water in Washington state, teaches us that land acknowledgements, that is statements recognizing the indigenous peoples whose cultural identities are linked to particular places, ought to give their attention to both historical claims to land that indigenous people currently make, and also to indigenous people who do not live on their ancestral homelands, instead having come into diasporic communities on lands being acknowledged in situ. Crafting a land acknowledgement according to these guidelines is our form of addressing a critique made by some indigenous people, namely that land acknowledgements tend to be perfunctory and primarily serve settlers' own concerns with optics when settlers are the ones writing them. Thus, we acknowledge that the land on which Rice University resides is the ancestral land of the Karankawa, the Atakapa, and the Akukisa. We also acknowledge that this land is currently home to the Karankawa Kadla, who continue to pass down their stories, medicine, and language while resisting false narratives of extinction. We also acknowledge this place as the current diasporic home of the Tunica Biloxi tribe of Louisiana, who through the American Indian Center of Houston advocate for the city's estimated 70,000 Native Americans through programming including civic engagement, legal education, and Native journalism. Like many American institutions, Rice University benefits from the unaddressed legacy of stolen labor at the foundation of this nation and its vast and inequitable wealth. While the 13th Amendment of the Constitution of the United States legislatively ended the institution of slavery in this country, we know that countless people forced to work here through violence, threat of imprisonment or deportation, or coercion still feel the ongoing impacts of slavery. Thus, we recognize our debt to exploited workers past and present whose labor was and continues to be stolen through unjust practices. Our resolve that land acknowledgements should not be perfunctory or invested in the interest of settlers applies also to this acknowledgement of labor, which we give as an extension of campus-wide efforts to reckon both materially and intellectually with Rice University's entanglement with slavery. The first charge of Rice's task force on slavery, segregation, and racial injustice is to develop and participate in the implementation of a plan for discovering, documenting, acknowledging, and disseminating Rice's past with respect to slavery, segregation, and racial injustice, as well as an understanding of how that history may continue to inform and shape the present state of the university. You may notice that Rice's most iconic space, the academic quadrangle, is currently closed for renovations, the most important of which is the relocation of the memorial statue of William Marsh Rice, founder of this university and known slaveholder. This change is the result of human effort, especially on part of community activists who have demanded that this institution no longer glorify Rice and demand that his historical legacy be deplatformed literally and seen for what it is, namely the degradation of human life. The proclamation of injustices is foundational to this university's history, is part of a larger set of practices by which we move toward a futurity that is productive, honest, and just. Thank you.